The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Dubby's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by Dubby, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. Dubby's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. Dubby Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is time for the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Thursday morning. We are live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Instagram. We're White Panther 51091 Fly, QM Murphman, and Drea Thomas all tuned into the show. Thank you so much for tuning in so far here on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. A lot of stuff, not a lot, I always say that, a few things that we want to get to on today's show. Once again, we are brought to you by our friends over at W Energy and, of course, RevAutoCarCare.com. Been a while since I gave a little bit of love to our friends over at RevAutoCarCare.com. I wanted to start off today's show by talking about the Washington Commanders signing veteran defensive end Von Miller, a move designed to bolster their pass rush and increase their ability to close out games on defense. The Washington Commanders signing Von Miller. Now, as a Cowboys fan, I was somewhat terrified, I guess you could say, of this move. Like, there was a part of me that was like, oh no, like the Von Miller, like he should have been a Cowboy. Like I kept, thinking that at first. And then as I thought more about this, I kind of realized like Von Miller isn't the Von Miller that he used to be. Right? Like the Washington Commanders are getting themselves a good player, but not the great game-changing Von Miller that used to be out there for the Denver Broncos. And I only say that because the Buffalo Bills defense that had Von Miller on it wasn't that great either. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, he's going to get pressure on the quarterback. He's going to be able to do the things that he always does, that Von Miller does. He's going to get to the quarterback. He's going to get his sacks. But he's not, to me, going to be a super disruptive force on the field. Shout out to my dude, Tommy Cananza, who tuned in right now, C1C915 over on YouTube, and to Thomas Quinn, who joined over on Instagram. Thank you so much. Von Miller being on the Washington Commanders doesn't scare me the way that maybe it should scare me, but it just doesn't, right? Like I'm not too worried about Von Miller being on the Washington Commanders, like as a Dallas Cowboys fan. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the one that should have something like clearly I respect Von Miller, but it just doesn't scare me. Like he's a 36-year-old player. He had 14 sacks in his first season and then 6 last year, right? So it's not like he's, again, like I'm trying not to disrespect him, but it's not the same Von Miller that was with the LA Rams whenever the Rams had that amazing defense. Augustine telling me, yes, you're wrong. I don't see it that way. Like I don't see it that way, man. Like I don't. Yeah, like I agree with Tommy. Like he's 100 years old, right? Like I ain't worried about him. And there was a part of me, like I saw that yesterday, and it caught me by surprise. Like I said, like I get the alert from ESPN, and it's like the Washington Commanders signed Von Miller, and I was like, oh God, no. And then I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, he was good, but it's been a while, right? Like it's been man, I didn't realize this. Like he's got 110 sacks in his career, but most of those was with the Denver Broncos, right? Like he did that 5 years ago now is what that was. So for me, it's like, man, like I'm not even going to say like I wish him the best of luck because I wish the Washington Commanders a rival team for the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't wish him luck, but maybe I am. Maybe I am being disrespectful. Like the Commanders had a decent pass rush. Maybe he makes them a little bit better. They had the 11th best pass rush in the NFL last season. They had 43 sacks. I feel like the Cowboys have a good offensive line. Philadelphia has a good offensive line. You might be able to get to Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson, whoever the starting quarterback is for the New York Giants. I bet a lot of you forgot that too, right? Like those were the starting quarterbacks for the New York Giants right now. And Jackson Dart. Maybe Jackson Dart gets the starting role over there. But it just, I don't know, man. Like to me, it doesn't feel like a big deal. And I'm wondering if I'm saying that because if Von Miller had signed with the Dallas Cowboys, would I have thought that it's a big deal? And I probably would have, maybe, right? Like maybe that's where I'm being a little hypocritical. Is like if Von Miller had signed with the Dallas Cowboys, maybe I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe the Cowboys can get something out of him. But that's also looking at the Dallas Cowboys pass rush, knowing that Von Miller's not the best pass rusher if he was on the Dallas Cowboys. I feel like he's automatically the best pass rusher on the Washington Commanders. And that's not a good sign. And then after Von Miller gets signed, I started thinking about other players that are still out there, other players that might be able to do something, right? Like some names that I'm surprised haven't been signed. Augustine saying, oh yeah, if you signed with the Cowgirls, you would be like a 14-year-old girl at a K-pop concert. And that's exactly what I'm thinking, Tommy. Like Von Miller wouldn't be able to crack the starting lineup for the Dallas Cowboys. It would be depth. You're right. Like it would 100% be depth, but I don't think it would be anything that you would think would make a huge difference for the Dallas Cowboys. Like depth is always good, but if Von Miller winds up being in your starting lineup, it's because there were some massive injuries there, right? Like that would be the issue. So it'll be interesting to watch, right? Like maybe he can do something in DC. I gotta look up what the Commanders roster is. Find out like what their depth chart is going to look like. Now that they have Von Miller on defense, like what's their, and yeah, he's their starting defensive end, right defensive end. They got Dorrance Armstrong, Deron Payne, both former Dallas Cowboys, Javon Kinlaw, and Von Miller are going to be the starting. Like that's an old that feels like an old defense with me, especially whenever you put in that Bobby Wagner is the starting middle linebacker right now. And Noah Igbiani is, man, like it seems like you got Marshawn Lattimore there. Like it seems like an old defense. Like it really does seem like an old defense. Augustine saying yes, Burn. It would be quality and quality depth that you could usually put in a crunch time though. If he's their starter and he's 36 years old, like what are you expecting out of him? You know what I mean? But like he's starting in Washington. That's not a depth guy. Like you'll have other guys. Dietrich Wise is going to be his backup. Cleveland Farrell is going to be the third stringer there. None of that really makes you feel like, oh, okay, this is gonna, like maybe it gives them a little bit of depth. But if it's to close out games, like I picture at the end of the game, like in the second half, he's going to be brought in on third down, obvious pass situations, right? Like he's not going to be in the majority of the game. Like it's just going to be obvious passing downs to try to get to the quarterback. And I feel like whenever you have a guy that's just brought in for passing situations on defense, they normally don't get to the quarter. They create a little pressure, but they normally don't get to the quarterback. Like again, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm being a hating ass hater. I don't. It's a good move for Washington, right? Like it gives them something, but he's going to be their starting defensive end right now. They were the 11th best pass rushing team. Maybe it makes them the 10th best pass rushing team this upcoming season, but they're going to have a much more difficult schedule, right? Like they're not going to be able to catch people off guard the way that they did last year. People are going to know what to expect out of the Washington Commanders now. They're not going to get disrespected the way that they got disrespected last year. August is saying, you a hater? No. You Eagle fan? LOL. I don't hate on the Eagles as much as I could. Like this could be a very different podcast. Like I could be out there just hating on teams. I think I hate on the Cowboys more than I hate on anybody else. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, that's my favorite team. I'm hating on them all the time. We shall see. We shall see what happens with it. Like again, Washington, good for you. I hope Von Miller being on your defense gives you something. Just not whenever you're playing the Cowboys or any of the other teams in the NFC East. I'd like to see it work out for Von Miller just because I love me some Von Miller. But man, Tommy's saying it's an upgrade over what they had, so I guess that's good for them, but it's not the blockbuster news it would have been 6 years ago. Exactly, right? Like it's a big name. It's a big name. And that's why whenever I saw the alert come in, I was terrified of it. Shout out to Abbott ESQ who tuned in over on Instagram. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Let's talk about soccer player prices. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. Hugo to Liverpool for 75 million pounds plus add-ons. What is 75 million pounds in dollars? Let's see. That's 100,513,287 and 75 cents. So I guess that's a big deal, right? Like, sounds like a big deal. £100 million for Hugo. Congrats. You got paid. I mean, is that a huge contract? Because I feel like I've seen bigger contracts, like much bigger contracts. That's just to trade the player plus wages. Okay. That's awesome, I guess. I've already said it. Like, the only way you're going to get me to really talk soccer is if we're talking like the World Cup stuff. So congrats to him for getting some money, I guess. We shall see. Anyway, I don't mean to be that dismissive of it. I just don't know, nor do I necessarily care. Right? Like, I feel like you must be a Liverpool fan or a fan of like whatever team is Liverpool's greatest rival to like bring that up. Congrats to Hugo on making your money, or for teams that have to pay that money to trade you or other wages. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. Other available free agents in the NFL right now, and I'm surprised with some of the names that I'm hearing that are available free agents. And there you go. I'm a Liverpool fan. Yep. It would be like me. Let's see what news. Went to the wrong website, but that's okay. I'll be able to have this right here. I do need to check on this one thing real quick. So let's see. Nope, not available to me yet. We're working on it. I was going to see what news the Dallas Cowboys have coming up right now, so we can just talk Dallas Cowboys news. In Dallas Cowboys news, Micah Parsons says, I'm going to get mine no matter what. Augustine saying, so what's Tipton's search history with just the tip? That should be interesting. LOL. Honestly, my search history isn't like that crazy. Like, you're going to get a lot of me looking up schedules, me having like free agent reports, things like that. Like, I've got, like, that's what the majority of my search history is the stuff that I'm doing basically on the show. Like my bookmarks and stuff like that, of the NFL media relations credentials for Major League Baseball, my stuff that I have where I can give away tickets to the Texas Rangers, like a few things like that. Like, it's not very interesting stuff, to say the least. Looking up like how to become a brand affiliate for certain products and stuff like that. Like, my search history is really boring. I know that's not the answer you wanted, but since the hub went down, we can no longer have the hub in Texas. There's no need for me to have amazing searches. My forearms have become so flabby. That's such an inside joke. But nonetheless, Micah Parsons, he's like, I'm going to get my money. Of course you're going to get your money, whether it's with the Cowboys or whether it's with somebody else. Some team is going to wind up paying Micah Parsons. I hope it's the Dallas Cowboys. I genuinely do. I hope he never hits free agency. I hope he stays with the Cowboys for the remainder of his career. Sign him to a huge deal like what we just saw Sauce Gardner get signed to. And again, like, I'm not like it's an okay signing for the Jets. Signing Garrett Wilson, signing Sauce Gardner, you got him for long term. It's not going to be something that I'm getting excited about because they're just not a good team. The Jets are just flatly not a good team. But free agents that are still available right now. Keenan Allen, wide receiver, he used to play with the Chicago Bears, entering his 12th year in the NFL. Amari Cooper, Brandon Sheriff, offensive lineman from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Marcus Williams, a free safety. Matt Judon, which is surprising to me that Matt Judon is a free agent still. Gabe Davis. Preston Smith, the outside linebacker. James Bradbury, Shaq Mason, Zadarius Smith, the outside linebacker. Remember whenever Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith were on the Green Bay Packers and they were like the highest rated linebackers in the NFL, and now they're not even on a team like Jadeveon Clowney? I wouldn't be like if the Cowboys went out and got Jadeveon Clowney, I'd be okay with that because it adds depth. And also he had one of the greatest hits in college football history. CJ Mosley, Justin Simmons, Kendall Fuller, Stephon Gilmore. Not happy. Happy's brother, Stephon. Like there's still a ton of guys that are out there available. Will Hernandez, an offensive lineman, still available from over here at UTEP. Nelson Aguilar, still available. Carson Wentz, still available. Like there's a lot of guys that I wouldn't have expected to be available that are available guys right now. Mercedes Lewis is still available. That's wild to me. Anytime you see a tight end with number 19 next to his career, like how long he's been in the NFL, that is wild to me. So what have been the greatest busts in NFL history besides the obvious? I mean, you can't say greatest busts. Falling off the rails is huge. I mean, to me, like if you had a great season, you can't be considered a bust, right? Like, especially in the NFL. I guess you could talk about like disappointments. Maybe we mentioned it yesterday. Robert Griffin III, right? Like we were talking about Jaden Daniels. Robert Griffin III can be one of those guys. Man, there's a part of me that wants to put Andrew Luck in there just because there's always a huge what if with Andrew Luck, right? Like it seems like the injuries and all that stuff, but like what is your definition of a bust? Because if you're gonna say like you can't have the obvious ones, I mean Johnny Manziel's got to be up there. Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the biggest busts in NFL history. One good season isn't a bust? Question marks. Oh, yeah, RG3, one of the biggest busts. Yeah, but like, I guess it all depends, right? Like where you were drafted, all that stuff. Like if you're a 7th round draft pick and you didn't make it to a roster, it's not a big deal, right? Like I don't know. Like I guess if we can't use the guys that are obvious guys and say these guys are a bust, that's going to have to be something that kind of like, who do you think is going to be on this list? Because I'm trying to figure it out. Like what is your definition of a bust? Because I guarantee you, like Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, all these dudes would love to have the career that RG3 had. Right? I want to say RG3 played 10 plus years in the NFL. Like he was on a roster more recently than Andrew Luck was on a roster. And that's kind of the thing that I push back with like Kwame Brown, right? Whenever people are like Kwame Brown was a huge bust in the NBA. I get it. You can say he was a huge bust, averaged 6 and 6, 7-6, really. But he played 12 seasons in the NBA. So, like, to me, like, is that really a bust if you played 12 seasons in the NBA? Augustine saying, now I've got a question. If a team doesn't perform to their expectations, is the team a bust? For example, the Lions from last year. I wouldn't say it's a bust. I'd say it's a disappointment, right? Like there's a big difference between a bust and a disappointment. And this is part of the pushback that I was given last year during the playoffs. Was there was a Lions fan, not Beastrilla, but another Lions fan on one of these chats that was just talking about how great the Lions front office and history and all this team was, and how they've done all the right moves and they've done this and that, and it was their destiny to win a Super Bowl. And they were going to win the Super Bowl. There was no ifs, ands, buts about it, right? Like they were going to win the Super Bowl. And I listened to like a bunch of other people out there, and they talk about their team and how their team is going to be a Super Bowl contending, Super Bowl winning team at the beginning of the season. And this is why I have the pushback against all the people that are like, oh, the Cowboys fans are always like, this is our year. This is why I have that pushback against them, is because all of these other teams, all of these other fans out there do the exact same thing. I would say the Lions were a disappointment. I can't say they were a bust. They won 15 games last year, right? Like they made it to the playoffs. They had a run. They ran into the Washington Commanders. I was talking to Beastrilla about this yesterday before we did the National Professional Sports Show, and his reasoning was Washington, like they had a better offense. You can't turn the ball over 4 times. They still scored 31 points like did the Lions. They just gave up 38 on offense. It was a pick 6 that made the game seem wide open. I don't think you can call it a bust. Now, if it was a team like with the Dallas Cowboys, right? Like I would call that season for the Dallas Cowboys a bust, because they came into the season and people were thinking that this team was going to have Super Bowl contending like aspirations, right? Like everyone thought that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a playoff team. That's where I would say, okay, maybe that team had a bust, right? Like the Cowboys, the season was a bust because they didn't even make the playoffs. It was a bad season for them. There were injuries. There were all kinds of things that happened for the Dallas Cowboys. This season's going to be a bust. Last season was a bust for the Dallas Cowboys. I will say that. I could say the same thing with the Cincinnati Bengals, right? Like that's another team that people said they have high playoff aspirations for this team. They can make another Super Bowl run. They wind up missing the playoffs. That's a bust of a season for them. But if you make it to the playoffs, you win 15 games, I don't see like where you can call that a bust. I like to me that like you can't necessarily call that one a bust. Augustine saying a second Lions fan? Where are they? They're coming out of the woodworks. They're 100% coming out of the woodworks. That's what happens whenever your team gets good. All of a sudden, the diehard fan base gets so much bigger. I can't wait for like the Dallas Cowboys to be legitimately good so that people can be like, oh, you're a bandwagon fan. They got good and you just joined the bandwagon. To a lot of these people that have been on the Dallas Cowboys bandwagon for years on the Dallas Cowboys bandwagon. Obviously, it might not happen in my lifetime, but it's always good to dream. It's always good to have those dreams. I know the one thing Augustine dreams about the most is just the tip.
I just want to put the tip in.
It's time for
Just a Tip.
That would make me uncomfortable.
Promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip? Just the tip.
It's time for
Just the Tip is brought to you by www.myhappynuts.com. Go visit www.myhappynuts.com. Take care of yourself from your pits to your tip. Make sure you're smelling good, you're feeling fresh all day long. www.myhappynuts helps you do that with the whole body deodorant, the comfort cream, the anti-chafe stick. I ain't worried about anything. As the summer keeps getting hotter, it was 9,000 degrees yesterday in El Paso, and I was feeling nice and fresh because of the whole body deodorant, the comfort cream, the anti-chafe stick, all of that stuff. Go visit www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout and save on all of your male grooming needs. Shout out to Louis Bougie and JPans9 who tuned in over on Instagram right at the time that we hit the Just the Tip segment. I saw a couple people tuned in and then left on the stream as soon as we started playing Just the Tip. Augustine saying every fan is a bandwagon fan. How? How is every fan a bandwagon fan? Like a Cleveland Browns fan could not be a bandwagon fan. Going on to say Dallas Cowboys fans are just gluttons for punishment. LOL. And then, hey, quit talking about our private conversations. It's not my fault you love the tip. No one blames you for loving the tip. You really got me thinking about like what a bust could be if it's not the obvious bust, right? Because I feel like I can search up lists of busts in the NFL. Like, can you have a long career and still be considered a bust, right? Like if that's Kwame Brown, if you can have a long career, could you still be considered a bust? If that, like, if we say that Kwame Brown is, how long did Greg Oden play? Man, that's wild. Greg Oden only played 105 games in his career. Greg Oden only played 3 seasons, but was in the NBA for 6 or 7 seasons. Wound up not playing because of injury. Played 23 games with the Miami Heat, started 6 of them, averaged. Let's see. What are we doing here? The only reason why I brought up Greg Oden was because I had seen the thing with Greg Oden. Like, man, Greg Oden's feet were a bust, is what Augustine is saying. Yes, I think you can. A long career not living up to expectations. Would you say, was Mario Williams a bust? Was Reggie Bush a bust? Matt Leinart, he's got to be on that list, right? But like, I feel like Matt Leinart's an obvious one. If we're talking about like, you can't be an obvious bust. Vince Young, maybe. I got to go through like some of the drafts here and try to figure out like what we can say is a bust. Like, was Will Hernandez a first-round pick or was he a second-round pick? People are not going to remember this, but Bo Kimball, a bust. I got to look up who this Bo Kimball is. Oh, God. Was Bo Kimball a first-round pick? There's no way. Sebastian Telfair, I think you could put up there as like as a bust as well. When was Bo Kimball drafted? Like I'm seeing the year that he was drafted. I'm not seeing the number that he was drafted at. Okay, let's read over here. Blah, 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 blah. College, Loyola Marymount, NBA. He was an 8th overall pick in the NBA draft. I guess you could say he was a bust, right? Let's see. He averaged 5.5 points a game, 1.5 rebounds a game. Danny Manning. I think you can call Danny Manning a bust. Christian Laettner a bust as well, right? Like if we're going to talk about guys that had longer careers, Bo Kimball, like if that's, like drafted number 8 overall, he played, let's see, 4 seasons in the NBA, 3 seasons in the NBA, 2 with the Clippers, 1 with the Knicks. So they must have knew he was bad from the beginning. I love this like 1995 season for him where he played for the Hartford Hellcats. What a great name, the Hartford Hellcats. Yeah, I'd put him up there. Like, yeah, that's got to be a bust. But like, if you can have a long career and still be a bust, like Danny Manning didn't live up to expectations, Christian Laettner didn't live up to expectations, and then like my whole thing is like, what would you say are expectations for a number 1, like a first round draft pick, especially if you're a top 10 lottery pick in the NBA? What would be the expectations for that type of player? And the same thing in the NFL, right? Like if you're a top pick in the NFL, like how would you grade an offensive lineman that was drafted number 1 overall? You know what I mean? Like let's say his first season wasn't great. I want to say Eric Fisher. Like we could put Eric Fisher in that category. Like how would you grade an Eric Fisher as an offensive lineman? Like his first couple of seasons weren't great. How would you grade Alex Smith? Right? Like Alex Smith being what, number 1 overall, I want to say, ahead of Aaron Rodgers, ahead of all those guys. Alex Smith, like, would you consider that a bust? Because what do you do whenever the team fails you, right? Like if you're Alex Smith and you're with the San Francisco 49ers for, what was it, 9 years, and you had 7 different offensive coordinators, is that what makes you a bust? Is the team constantly having turnover in the coaching staff? I want to say he had 4 head coaches during his time too. Let's see. Oh, that's not the right Alex Smith. There we go. Didn't even know there were 2 Alex Smiths. Feel bad for the other Alex Smith. You're going to bring up the list of San Francisco 49er coaches and juxtapose that to what Alex Smith played with. That's wild. He was only in San Francisco for 8 seasons. 8 seasons, 2005 to 2012. How many coaches did the San Francisco 49ers have between 2009 or 2005 and 2012? Had 1, 2, 3, 4 coaches. So I was right. 4 different coaches, 7 different offensive coordinators for the San Francisco 49ers during the time that Alex Smith was their quarterback. Do you call that a bust because the team was all over the place? Right? Like I don't think you can call Alex Smith a bust, especially the latter part of his career where he made 3 Pro Bowls. And he wound up playing 16 seasons in the NFL. So I mean, it's hard for me to define what exactly a bust would be. So I guess I'd have to come up with whatever definition. Like if we can't go with the normal bust, like if that's your question, what's a bust? But not like the regular busts that we talk about. If that's the question, then I guess we're going to have to do a little bit of work, a lot of bit of work to try to figure this out. That is a good question, though. But I think it also comes down to how would you define a bust? Because to me, I don't think you can call Alex Smith a bust. I genuinely don't feel that way. But you could say if he didn't live up to expectations, and then what are your expectations for a first round pick? That would be the real question here. Anyway, going back to what we were talking about, available free agents that are out there, I'm surprised that we haven't seen an influx of guys like Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen getting signed. Gabe Davis too. I don't understand how Gabe Davis isn't on a roster right now, especially whenever you look at like teams that can use a wide receiver. Like you need depth at wide receiver. I'm surprised. I really am, especially with the Buffalo Bills, that they haven't brought back Amari Cooper. Like maybe they're waiting for the. I guess they're waiting for training camp and stuff like that. Shout out to Midea Reyes, who tuned in right now over on Instagram. Hope that everything is going well with you. But not seeing like Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, like them not being on rosters is kind of crazy to me. Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith not being on rosters, that's also kind of wild. Brandon Sheriff, a guy that's been in the NFL, like an offensive lineman. How does a big, fat, beefy man not make it onto somebody's roster? And then we got Von Miller making it onto the rosters. Let's see what other defensive ends are out there that are available. DeMarcus Walker, maybe not. Maybe Von Miller was the best of the, as I'm looking at what's here available, the best of the defensive ends. Jadeveon Clowney, I guess you could say, might be up there with him. But Von Miller, like, that's what got this whole conversation started, was Von Miller being picked up by the Washington Commanders. I felt like at the time, huge deal. And then as I progressed through the day, it's not like it's not that great of a deal. Augustine asking, Cooper is 31 years old, and has he had any consistency over the last 3 years? Yes, he has. Like again, with what he had in Cleveland, you cannot, at least in my opinion, you cannot hate on him. Like he did his best. Let's look up Amari Cooper stats. Let's see what his stats were over the last couple of years. Going over to Pro Football Reference. Augustine asking, what were his stats? I know he was in Cleveland, but that don't matter. Cleveland, he started all 17 games, had 78 receptions for 1,060 yards and 9 touchdowns. In 2023, started 15 games, had 72 receptions, 1,250 yards, and 5 touchdowns. In 2024, remember he got traded from Cleveland halfway through the year, had 24 receptions with 250 yards and 2 tutties for the Browns, 20 receptions for 297 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Bills. And let's not forget, whenever you spend half the season, more than, or all the way up to the trade deadline, whatever it was, with the Cleveland Browns, it's not going to be a great look for you. Whenever you got Jameis Winston and whoever the hell else was quarterback for the Cleveland Browns over the last couple of years. So, yes, I would say that he's had consistency. Or like he's really had a solid career. Not the type of numbers that he put up in Dallas, but he's had over the last 3 years, he's had a solid career. You also have to remember he was in Cleveland. So even if his numbers were to drop a little bit, which they really didn't, he was still great. Like he averaged 14.9 yards a reception last year for the Buffalo Bills, so almost 15 yards a reception by the Buffalo while he was with the Buffalo Bills. So yeah, like I think he's done okay. Even in Cleveland, averaging 15 yards and 9 touchdowns. For the Bills, he just fell off the edge. But that's the thing is like, okay, so he had 4 less receptions for the Buffalo Bills. He only started 4 games for them, though. He got targeted 32 times, had 20 receptions for 297 yards. Like, again, you're averaging 15 yards a reception. If you're only targeted 32 times because the Bills were more of a running team, like that's not necessarily on Amari Cooper, right? Like that's yeah, like you can't say that he just fell off completely. I think it was Cleveland, right? Like you start 6 games in Cleveland, you got 24 receptions on 53 targets. Like whenever you look at the success rate, in Cleveland, his success rate at catching balls that were thrown his way was 35.8%. In Buffalo, it's 53.1%, which is kind of where he's been. Like even his last season in Dallas was 53.8%. And like I said, like those seasons in Dallas were his best seasons, especially like early on in Dallas. Those were his best seasons for Amari Cooper. But I mean, you can, I think he's been okay. Like let's juxtapose that to Keenan Allen. Let's see what Keenan Allen did over the last couple of years. So Keenan Allen last year had 70 receptions on 121 targets, a success rate of 47.1% with the Chicago Bears. Obviously, it was the Bears. 7 touchdowns. He was the number 1 receiving option for the Bears last year. 70 receptions, 744 yards. And even comparing that to like Amari Cooper having 44 receptions for 550 or 547 yards and 4 touchdowns, but playing with the Cleveland Browns, like it's not like there was a huge difference there between the two wide receivers. Maybe it's just me liking Amari Cooper. Like I really like Amari Cooper, and I'm surprised that he's not on a roster right now. We're seeing what NFL teams need a wide receiver. Like, oh, wow, I can't even believe I thought about this. But the New York Giants, like you got the Giants, the Bears, the Saints, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Steelers, the Raiders, all according to ESPN, are listed as having needs at wide receiver. You mean to tell me that the New York Giants putting Amari Cooper as your number 2 receiver there, follow like behind Neighbors, wouldn't be a huge pickup for the New York Giants? Like that'd be big. Having another receiver, like whether it's Keenan Allen or Amari Cooper, alongside DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh, would be huge. Obviously, the Bears, like I like what they're doing, so maybe they don't need a wide receiver as much. You'd like to have them have a possession wide receiver, a veteran wide receiver that can do something for the Bears. But I'm not hating too much on them not having a wide receiver, but like the Saints, the Broncos have playoff aspirations this year. Maybe adding Amari Cooper to the mix would make them just a little bit better. You got to have that veteran presence. The Chargers, their pass game over the last couple of years has been bad. That would be funny. You bring Keenan Allen back. Did they re-sign Michael Williams as well? Mike Williams as well? Because I know Mike Williams was no longer with the Chargers in 2024. I'm going to have to go see like if the Chargers signed him again. I think they did. There's a part of me that thinks that they did, which would be hilarious. Yeah, they brought back Mike Williams. So why not bring back Keenan Allen as well? Like if you're going to run it back with the guys that you had whenever you had success, why not bring it back with Keenan Allen as well? Or even Amari Cooper. I'm just saying like it's surprising to me. It really is surprising to me that you have that many teams. What was it? 6, 7 teams that have a need at wide receiver, and you've got guys that are still available that haven't been signed yet. And I guess it's going to be whenever training camp happens that these guys are going to wind up getting signed. But it's just, again, like maybe it's just me. But I feel like a team that has Amari Cooper on it, and Cooper being like your number 2 wide receiver, even if you have a team that's already got a lot of depth, and Amari Cooper was like your number 3 wide receiver, I wonder what the demands are. Looking it up. It's not letting me, like, it's not showing me anything here like what Amari Cooper is demanding. So, like, he must not be saying, I need to be your number 1 overall wide receiver. And even if that was the case, like, he's got to take a step back and be like, I just got to get a job. The market value for Amari Cooper right now is $18.9 million a year. You sign him to a 1-year deal at 18.9. We'll just call it 19. I think you'll be all right. We're going to have to see what teams still have a decent amount of salary cap. Augustine, you were wondering what my search history looks like? This is my search history, at least on this computer. Like, the Patriots still have a good amount of cap space left. The Lions have some cap space. The 49ers, the Cardinals, the Jets, the Packers, the Bengals, the Cowboys, the Raiders, and Philadelphia. Those teams round out the top 10 as teams that still have a lot of salary cap that they would be able to spend. The Cowboys still have $32 million they can spend in salary cap. Now, obviously, they want to hold on to some of that. But getting Amari Cooper to New England wouldn't be bad. Maybe not so much Detroit because you already got Amon-Ra St. Brown, but like getting Keenan Allen there as like a possession guy, that wouldn't be bad. It helps lighten the load for guys like Sam Laporta. San Francisco, if I'm the 49ers, I'm just not signing anybody. The Cardinals, maybe you get one of these guys. I wouldn't be surprised to see him with the Arizona Cardinals. The Jets, I'm not doing anything. Obviously, I think they're a bad team. But, like, even the Green Bay Packers. Like, if Amari Cooper was on the Green Bay Packers, you've already got yourself a number 2, number 3 wide receiver. That would actually be pretty interesting. Matthew Golden, Amari Cooper, a couple of other receivers that the Green Bay Packers have. They've got a good young receiving core. That would be pretty cool. That would be something to kind of give them a little more dynamic of an offense. Now, obviously, Amari Cooper's not going to get the majority of the targets, but it would give the Green Bay Packers. You know what? I would like that. I would like to see the Green Bay Packers get Amari Cooper. I think that would be a big pickup for them, or even Keenan Allen, just one of those guys. Give yourself a veteran presence and a very young wide receiving group, And I think that would help him out. It gives him a possession guy. The rest of the guys are home run hitting type of guys. Get yourself a possession guy that can keep the drive moving, that can run perfect routes like Amari Cooper does, and you've got yourself the makings of a really interesting season this year. Really interesting season. All right, everybody, I want to thank you so much for tuning into today's show. We will be back tomorrow with the TIP VIP Friday. Hope that y'all have yourself a great Thursday, and we will see you tomorrow.